Hi. So I want to welcome my friends Jason and Linda Ruona. So I am doing a special This Big Meaningful Life series talking about things that other people have found useful that have made my life feel better. And today we are talking about Norwex products. And so if you guys were to sum up Norwex, what would you say that it is?
I guess it's just cleaning products that are very environmentally friendly. Yes?
Yeah, I mean it's cleaning with as few chemicals as possible.
Yes. Yes, and I learned about these when they came to visit and they showed me all kinds of cool things. And so actually, I don't know if you can remember, but when we first talked about it, you said if you're starting out, get the Enviro cloth and the shiny cloth,
Mm-hmm.
which is how we started. So tell me more about these products.
Okay. Well, first of all, I was first introduced to Norwex by a colleague, and she had a party. We are not Norwex representatives at all. If you're watching this video and you are a Norwex representative, and we say something that's wrong or something that you want to add, just feel free to comment and correct us. Yep, exactly. But I went to this, I was thinking like, well, it's washcloths. I don't get it, right? And so I went to this party and they showed that you just take this cloth, this is the Enviro cloth that you were just talking about, and you get it wet, and then you just wash things and they're clean and you don't have to spray any chemicals or any cleaner on it beforehand. And then, like you were saying, the window cloth. And so I thought to myself, because I thought, all right, so I could walk around my house and clean all my windows and mirrors with a wet cloth and a dry cloth, and you just wet, dry.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't have to carry around paper towels, and I don't have to go pick them up afterwards, and I don't have to spray this stuff that everybody's now breathing in, and I don't have to carry that around with me to every new window. That sounds a lot easier. So that's how I kind of got started.
Yeah. And it turns out, so because I have little ones in the house still, right? So all the 2-year-old handprints. In fact, sometimes I wonder if I should even do this for like 2 more years. Maybe I should not wash windows for
right?
like a solid 4 years. But usually if I were to use Windex or anything, I'm working forever to get all the streaks away. And I didn't have any of that. And it was like so clear and smooth and wonderful. You actually did almost walk into the patio door one day because I thought it was open.
Right.
And I realized last second that's not open. So
yeah,
it's really miraculous.
Absolutely. So I wanted to point out that there is a difference because in a lot of stores, just regular old stores, they sell microfiber cloths,
Mm-hmm.
and they're a lot less expensive. And I'm a real, we budget everything, so we pay attention to what things cost and make sure that if we're buying something that's more expensive, there's a reason for it. Somebody knew that we were into microfiber and they bought these for us as a gift, which was nice. We put it in our camping stuff because then I have something when I'm camping, but I'm not gonna lose or wreck my Norwex stuff. But the difference is apparently the definition of microfiber is that it is 1/5 of a human hair or smaller. So this from the store is probably 1/5 of a human hair. Norwex microfiber is 1/200 of a human hair.
So tiny.
So tiny. And then in their EnviroCloth, I just read that there's 3 million meters. Like if you stretched this out, you would get 3 million meters of microfiber. So what the microfiber does is when you use just a regular cloth, it just kind of pushes everything around as you clean. And what the microfiber does is it sucks it in. And you were asking before about the it says, the surface is 99% clean or whatever like that. It's because it's sucking it into the cloth. That's what the cloth does. And then Norwex cloths, the regular store cloths don't have what Norwex does, which is like silver embedded in this. And people probably know that silver, I guess it might not kill bacteria, but like turns it off or something. It affects bacteria somehow. So there's silver embedded in this cloth. So as it hangs and dries, it takes 24 hours for the silver to do its thing. Then the bacteria that this cloth collected is dead or inactive or whatever you would scientifically say.
Got it. That's so miraculous. I
Well,
love.
and silver has been used for, I don't know, 1,000 years or more as an antibacterial. They used it on sailors. Used it. They put silver in their water so it wouldn't get grody and stagnant. You know, especially as people are just dipping the same cup. Back then, they would put silver on cuts that were starting to get infected and stuff. And so we've known about this for a long time. And silver is actually more potent against bacteria. They don't develop a resistance as quickly. Like we're getting to the point we have silver in a lot of things now in sports clothing and at hospitals. And so there is some concern that, you know, that eventually we're going to create bacteria that's resistant to it, but it's something that's proven, you know, that scientists don't even really fully understand, but that it attacks the bacteria on more than one level. And so that's why it's more potent than, say, a Clorox wipe or, you know, or something like that. That's,
Wow.
well, not that it's more potent, but less of a concern to doctors, you know, about building up resistance and stuff.
Got it. I have noticed, like, we reinforced some shelves because the little one kept trying to climb up into them to get the food that he wanted. So Dominic was trying to screw in the reinforcements without taking all the food out and ended up breaking a bunch of stuff, including stuff that had oil in jars. And it was a total mess. And I think, like, right, you tend to go back to old habits. So he first went for paper towel and cleaner. And then I went to put it all away. It was all greasy and nasty. And so I pulled out these microfiber, like the Norwex cloths, right? And wiped everything, and it was done. The same is true, like, you know, if you flip your almond butter or peanut butter over so that that oil will seep back in. But then sometimes you have oil everywhere. You have it under the cap and on the counter. So just a wipe with these cloths has stopped the greasiness, which is completely crazy.
Yeah.
So
I wanted to show you we had to look it up, how long we've been using Norwex. We like went back in our emails to find our first order. We weren't able to find our first order, but we found an order from 2014. So we think over 5 years. So this is an EnviroCloth that we've had. This is the one we've had for the longest, and it's still going. So, I mean, I was on Norwex's website today and they have a 2-year guarantee, but this is 5. And I mean, you can tell it's I'm not sure how much you can tell, but it's getting a little bit less soft. And well, this isn't very soft because my daughter used it to clean her bathroom yesterday. And we didn't wash it in between. So anyway, it's still going and it's still working. I've been very, very pleased. So yeah, if you were gonna just get one, or like if you're just gonna start with Norwex, I would say the EnviroCloth and the window cloth. And you're gonna want to clean your whole house once you. And I'm not a cleaner. I should have said that before. Like, I am not a cleaner. I don't like cleaning. I don't do it often. Yeah. So I got the EnviroCloth and I wanted to clean my whole house because it works so good. I mean, that did, like, you know, wear off pretty quickly, but yeah.
And you mentioned like cleaning up greasy stuff, and that is one thing I think that you want to be careful with the cloths is, you know, I took our kitchen cloth when we first got it.
This is the actual cloth that he's talking about.
I took it and I scrubbed the stove down. And, you know, I mean, and so the fibers suck in that grease, and, you know, so it's like cooking grease. So it's even more concentrated than, you know, than like almond butter or something like that. And it, like, I felt like immediately, like, that cloth didn't work as well as the other one that we had at the time. And so, I just had to, so, you can deep clean them by putting them in boiling water and stuff, but I just always felt like,
don't boil the water.
Oh.
I got the
right.
Norwex person, clicking to add something there.
So you can get water really hot. You throw it in there. You throw it in with some like Norwex soap if you want, and just let it sit in it. The fibers spread and they release, and the
water
soap
gets dirty. I mean, you're like, what?
Wow.
So you boil the water, but you don't want to put the cloth in and keep it boiling, right?
Uh-huh.
So you boil the water, you put in some cleaner of some sort, or you don't even have to actually, and then you put your cloths in. This is like for more of a deep cleaning.
Okay.
You don't have to do this on a regular basis, and then it
soap.
just all releases into the water, and it's
Wow.
the water's all dirty, and you're like, what? Where did that come from?
Wow.
It was all in there. Yeah.
Okay.
But now I had a cloth. I mean, I really did feel like that. Like, well, what I'm trying to say is, like, we have a different cloth. It's just called a.
It's called a kitchen cloth.
It's a kitchen cloth, but it doesn't have the it doesn't have the silver and stuff. It's really intended to be used to really scrub something down, but it's not. I mean, it's I guess a little bit more durable than. And so I use that now for cleaning the stove, especially because you just know that you get that kind of, baked down grease, and that can get in those fibers because the fibers really are, tight together.
That makes a ton of sense. Yeah, we had a kitchen scrubby cloth, so it's got like
on one side, yeah.
Yeah, it's blue and it's clearly got something scrubby. So that works great actually on, like, we had a friend hand us like this ceramic white pan. And I was like, oh, it's kind of dirty, and I cleaned it all up. And so yeah, it works really well. Yeah. And you guys have seen our kitchen table. It's that big wooden, and we had been pledging or whatever, dusting, and it was kind of annoying. Like, it would leave these rings then if people had a wet glass of some sort, and there was like clearly a film on the table. So we bought a bunch of stuff to clean the table. So Dominic will scrub it down with like an EnviroCloth. What does he do? He's got like a 3-step process, and he ends with the mitt that is for dusting. Yes, exactly. I purposely bought the gray one. I was like, oh, that's gonna look so dirty. So, and it's great. So we don't have that film problem anymore. The table looks really nice and shiny because we don't like to cover. You know how like old school was, put a tablecloth over everything. And
mm-hmm. So for people who are just starting out, you can use the EnviroCloth as a dusting cloth dry. It works pretty well. And then there's also this mitt that you can get. It's great because all of this microfiber stuff has like a natural static charge. And so it just collects the dust as you go. You don't have to spray anything on there, and it just collects as you go. So
yeah.
Mitt.
Fun.
Yeah.
And when you go around your whole house, one thing I think that's important to know is you don't just take this cloth and just scrub along things, because what it's doing is it's pulling the dirt in, and eventually the surface of the cloth is going to get dirty. It's going to get caked and stuff. It's it's not, and so they make them larger for a reason, so that what you're supposed to do is you kind of start with one surface, use it.
Yep, and you're supposed to use the window cloth the same, folding it into, this one is 16 and that one's 8.
Because what happens is, like, the cloth is going to kind of, the bacteria that gets pulled in there it's trapped in there, but the real, I guess, magic of the cloth happens as it dries. And so you want to keep working, once you get to the point where you're like, okay, this is kind of dirty, you know, you flip
Right.
to
So then
another
you flip to
surface.
a clean one, and then you flip to a clean one.
And then, so that like the one for this one is even bigger, right?
Yeah.
And then they even recommend you fold it one extra time, just so that you always have a really, you know, a really nice surface that you're touching your, you know, your windows and your,
Cleaning,
Yeah, that's a good tip.
and like you'll notice, like if you have a body cloth and you're using it to shower with, you know, just the idea that it's killing the germs or whatever. Well, you still want to kind of pay attention to the order that you're cleaning yourself, because after you do like your armpits, that cloth is gonna be stinky then. You know, it grabs that sweat, and it smells, and it's gonna smell until it's had a chance for, you know, either all that stuff to come in contact with the silver in it, or as it dries. But that happens as it dries, and so you might go, ooh, you know, well, that's doing its work, it's pulling that bacteria out. But I think that's important to remember, that like if you use this cloth and you wipe up, like, you know, a spilled egg or something, like, you still have to think about cross contamination.
That's good.
You know, because
although I will say that one time, I had a Norwex consultant, and she put some raw chicken on a plate, and she had one of those restaurant testers. Like, it's like this, it looks like a pen, and it turns red when there's bacteria. She put some raw chicken on a plate, and then she moved it to a different plate, and then took the wet EnviroCloth and wiped it off, and then used her restaurant tester, and it didn't have bacteria. And then she licked it.
Wow. Wow, good for her. Oh.
But I don't, everybody has their own comfort level. And like, if I clean up raw egg or something, then I either at that time just throw it in the laundry because it's been 2 days, or, you know, rinse it out and wait for it to dry for a day, you know.
Yeah, and so in the kitchen, I keep one of these under the sink on a little towel rack, and we keep one that we're using in the sink. And then, so usually every day or two, I'll give it a good rinse, wring it out, maybe add a drop of a natural soap, and then let it dry. And so that, because the kitchen cloths really, they take a beating.
More than
what we
anything.
cook from scratch, so I'm
We
always
spend
in the
a lot
kitchen,
of time in the kitchen.
and so they'll get a little gross at the end of the day. And then
because they're holding everything in, so they start to feel almost a little bit slimy.
Okay.
Did you notice that at all? Yeah, they start to feel a little slimy, and then it's like, oh, it's time. Actually, when they start to feel slimy, that's when it's time to deep clean them, I would say.
Got it.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. And the tags say like wash with other lint-free stuff. What constitutes lint-free?
Okay, so you know when you wash a load of towels and your lint thing is like full of lint? Okay, that was a very linty load of laundry. And when you wash just your regular clothes without towels, there's hardly any lint in the lint trap. So that, I mean, it's just basically don't wash it with towels, especially like brand new towels.
Yeah, those are the worst.
And the reason is because the cloth is gonna grab all that lint. The lint's not gonna be in the lint trap, it's gonna be on your cloth. In fact, just the other day, there was like a stray piece of thread in our laundry, and like I had to like work to get like the cloth was like holding on to that piece of thread, like, yeah.
Got it. Yeah, because I've been so diligent, I only wash them with themselves, right? Like I was like, oh gosh, I don't know. So you put them in with your regular clothes, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Yeah, and even like for a while, I would avoid putting them in with sweaters or sweatshirts, you know, things like that.
Yeah,
and
things that are more linty.
But once something's been washed something like that's been washed several times, it's not, you know, it's just more a matter of, yeah, you know, your cloth that you tried to get clean is now full of lint. It's not going to damage it or anything. So
we'll talk about how we don't really use towels anymore in a little bit. So
Yeah.
you don't even have to like avoid washing them with towels, because we'll talk about that in a
Yeah.
minute. I wanted to show that they do make these like quarter size EnviroCloths, and you buy a pack of 5 of them for like $25. I work in I'm a teacher. I work in 2 different buildings. I have one in each desk. I have one in my purse. So you're out and about. You just spilled something on yourself at a restaurant. You just use the water to get it wet, and you can get it off your clothes with an EnviroCloth.
Wow. I did
Right?
not know that.
Yes.
What?
So I bought these as Christmas presents one year for my kids' teachers, because I thought, you know what, $5. You have to explain what it is so that they know, you know. But I thought that made a really good Christmas present for my kids'
So,
teachers.
like if someone spills something chocolatey on themselves, it will just rub it out.
Yeah, you got to have water.
Right.
Yep.
Which is usually available somehow, right?
Yeah.
Even if you had to go to the bathroom. But
Yeah.
I mean, that's better than a wet one. Have you
I
ever
mean,
tried?
it depends on, like, if this was dark chocolate on a white shirt,
Sure.
you know, you might have a little bit more trouble getting it out. But yeah, it'll, you know, I eat at my desk. I spill on myself at work. So sometimes it's necessary.
Yes. Teachers tell me all the time about their inability to leave the classroom. So the struggle is real. I feel it.
True. Another great gift idea is normally when someone gets married that we know, we get them an EnviroCloth and a window cloth.
Aw, that's such a great idea.
Oh, they're just getting started out, and gives them no chemicals. You have to explain what it is, because otherwise people don't know. You know.
Oh, thanks. Wow. Yeah.
Right.
Well, I think we were talking about this before, but not well, before we started recording, we bought the face claws and yeah, and I was a huge skeptic, like really the mascara and the eyeliner, not to like anything else, the powder. So
Yes.
I washed. Go ahead.
Just water.
Just
You don't
water.
have to buy like something fancy that you and kids, like, okay, so your daughter is 11.
Mhm.
My daughter is 15.
Mhm.
Kids don't like to wash their face.
Yeah.
Because it's not pleasant. Like splashing water on your face, that is not pleasant.
The worst.
Kids will use this because they just get it wet, wipe their face.
And it worked because I wanted to know that there was nothing else that would come off if I used a chemical. And there was nothing else. Like the cotton ball was completely clean. So
Yeah.
I was like, okay, we're good.
Yeah.
Got
These
everything.
get dirty pretty quickly, right? So like you probably have 3 of them, probably came in a pack of 3.
Yep.
And you probably have to wash them every week
Totally.
or something like that. Yeah.
Totally.
Mhm.
Yep. And I had looked at their towels. They were like $40 a towel. There's 6 in our family.
I know, right?
So, do you have them? Do you have the towel?
So we did, after we tried out Norwex and found, you know, that it was awesome, I bought 1 towel to try the towel, you know. At that time they were making a smaller towel, so there was a small and a large, and I actually bought a small to try it out. They're amazing. I only shower like 3 or 4 times a week. I just do. And so I would say every 2 to 4 weeks the towel needs to get washed. Because let's face it, I'm already clean when I'm using the towel. I've already, you know, cleaned myself with my body cloth. So, and it's got the silver embedded in it. It's pretty large. That's why it's so expensive, is because it's a large piece with silver embedded in it.
That's true.
I mean, if this has, you know, 3 million meters of microfiber, imagine how many this has. But they're great, and we don't do a load of towels every week anymore. When we do wash the towels, they're not a whole load. There's 4 of us, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I have to grab if I grab all the stuff, you know, all the Norwex things and throw them in the laundry, there's plenty of room in there for other stuff.
And then there's the hand towel for the bathroom also, which I
Ooh.
just love the idea of, like, oh, this isn't going to be every single person is touching this and now it's full of bacteria. Like at least at night, you know, when it has a chance to dry overnight, then it's a clean towel in the morning.
That's amazing. Because, I mean, our kids, they brush their teeth and then they rub their face all up in the towels. And I feel like kids are sick, everything, like maybe 10 months out of the year. I just don't, I
Yeah.
can't really discern a lot of time that they're not at all sick somehow. So I'm always like, oh, don't touch my towel. Ooh, gross. Like, it comes back to those opera days.
So after the EnviroCloth and the window cloth, I would say
Uh-huh.
the body cloth is the next place to go.
Mm-hmm.
It's just amazing. You don't have to use soap.
Yeah,
You
that's
can
what you were
wash your
saying.
body without soap.
That's remarkable. I
And
haven't tried it.
I'm like genetically a sweater. Like I sweat. Okay. So like my armpits get stinky. And this definitely does the job.
And it sucks all the stinky?
Yes.
How does it do it? I love it. That's really good to know. I feel like there was other
Well, I
special.
have other things to show you, so if
Oh,
you
good.
want me to
Okay.
just keep talking,
Okay.
I don't mind. Well, we've had our
We
aluminum
have a lot.
straws for much longer than Visco's been a thing. If you've not heard of Visco yet, I just learned about it this year. But you can get aluminum
They're stainless steel.
straws. I'm sorry, stainless steel straws in a lot of places. I don't know that the Norwex ones are better than any others, but they do have this handy scrubber thingy,
Yes.
and that's like essential if you're going to use straws and use
This
them.
is huge. I did a wedding for this couple. They're really big into telling people about how straws affect the environment. And they talked about how the straws get stuck in the sea turtles' noses, just like really horrible things. So
Yeah.
that was like a huge incentive for me not to go and get coffees all the time. Like, I already liked making coffee at home, but I would succumb, like, oh, I'm out or whatever. So we are much more cautious. I still, like, even recently I ordered a drink thinking it would definitely not come with a straw, and it did. I was like, ah. So
Yeah.
you can't always even predict.
Yeah, or they come to the table, the waitress comes to the table and just puts all your straws out, and you're like, I didn't stop her in time.
Yes. So do you take these to a restaurant? Is that something you do?
We usually just decline the straws at restaurants. But my kids, kids like straws. I don't get it. For me, it's like, oh, it's one more thing to clean. So the rule at our house is if you use a straw, you have to clean the straw. But kids can clean the straw with the little
possible
thingy. Oh, speaking of kids, by the way, it's another wonderful thing about these EnviroCloths. My kids clean their own bathrooms. They don't have to spray any chemicals. They just get the cloth wet.
So talk to me about the toilet, because I feel like that's the one thing I have not used it for. Like, I even bought the bath one for the shower, so I'll scrub and it gets all the soap scum and it's wonderful and I feel secure. But I feel like, oh, the toilet. So tell me about your toilet habit.
Well, yeah, personally, like if I'm using if I'm using Norwex cloth to clean the toilet, I'll do the toilet last, and then I'll throw it in the laundry.
I mean, really, like hardcore Norwex people would be like, well, all you have to do is hang it up and let it dry for 24 hours and it's
And then
anti-bac.
you'll lick it.
That's probably true, but you gotta wash them every once in a while anyway. So, you start with the clean stuff and work your way to the toilet and then throw it in the laundry.
But I've found that, like, I don't know, there's always stuff on the toilet that it just it's like hair or something that's like
sticking to the
staticky
porcelain.
to the toilet or something that yeah, it's so I'll take the cloth and scrub it. Sometimes there's like sometimes I'll use a paper towel just to get whatever is for whatever reason is not getting grabbed by the by the microfiber. But yeah, I always just do the toilet last and then throw the thing in the laundry.
That's a good idea. I should have thought of that. I'm a reasonably smart person. Why I didn't think to do the toilet last is beyond me.
So, one more thing about these little like small ones, you can buy what they call an MVP, a microfiber variety pack. It has 3 things in it. It has a small EnviroCloth, a small window cloth, and a small body cloth. So those are my top 3 items, and you can get a small one. I think it's $21. I wrote it down. Yep, it's $21. So like if you're a Norwex skeptic and I'm just telling you though, when you get your small EnviroCloth, you will definitely wish you had a larger one.
Right? The first thing I did, I was like, this is so cool. And I did all the baseboards and the light switch plates because little hands, man, gross. Like, what
Yep.
do they do to things? So I went through and I went every little surface that I otherwise would never even, I wouldn't even bother
Mhm.
because I don't want to use 20 paper towels to clean, all the baseboards and all of so they just sit there, but this way they actually did get cleaned. The same is true, like if I was going to spray the bathroom, I got to take all this stuff off and put it down and then spray and clean and then put everything back. But when I'm using these, I really just pick up, put back
Mhm.
down. So I'm like not bending over as much.
Yeah. And also like you might feel like you don't want to do that when the baby's around.
No, right? I'm like, you need to be sleeping or
Right.
otherwise occupied.
Yeah. So then you don't have to, he can be right there under your feet and whatever.
Yeah, because they are notorious for what's this, what's that. I touch
Oh,
it,
that's me there.
no touch it, no touch it, no touch it. Yep. And what about the inside of the toilet? Going back to the toilet, because
I mean, I don't know what Norwex would recommend for that. We have some friends that get Melaleuca products, and I have there's a tub and tile spray, and so I'll spray that around the inside and use a regular toilet brush for it.
It's one of the only things that we have like a separate, but yeah. Mhm.
I mean, I suppose you could
Put your hand
put
in.
your hand in there and scrub it with the.
and then lick it.
Everyone has their own comfort level.
Right.
I mean, I guess I feel like I've, sometimes around the underside of the rim where you, I guess I'll scrub that with the cloth, but yeah, I wouldn't get down in the water of the toilet with it. I use a brush for that.
Yep.
I'll show you the cleaning paste since we're talking about bathrooms.
Oh, great.
Okay, so I left my first Norwex party like excited about Norwex. I had bought my EnviroCloth, but also driving home thinking like, okay, this thing cleans everything with water, so why do they have any other products at all? Right? Like,
yes. Yep.
Shouldn't that be the end? I mean, it turns out that like they have different weaves for different cloths that work better for certain things. And then also, of course, like it just kind of depends how much elbow grease you're willing to, invest. So they have this, I don't know, they have this cleaning paste, which we'll use, as I mentioned, we're not huge cleaners. And so sometimes the shower needs like some extra work, okay? And so we use the cleaning paste with the Spira sponge, I think it's called. This doesn't have a silver in it, believe it or not. So we just wash it when we're done. But we've had this cleaning paste for 5 years. I don't know if you can tell how much is left in there.
Yep.
We've got 2 of those.
We do have 2 of them. So like it maybe took us like 5 years to use one of these. Again, we're not huge cleaners, but it goes a long way. A little goes a long way. So it's pretty expensive, but it lasts a long time.
Yeah, and you use that for like, I mean, like the hard water leaves deposits on your in your shower, or things like that. So it's used for situations where you really are dealing with something that's kind of fused or whatever to the surface, and not necessarily going to get pulled up by something that's grabbing it.
Yep, that makes sense. And that's the only one you have, only the paste. Or no, you have a spray something.
Well, yeah, I spray something in the toilets. We
do have their laundry detergent.
You do.
Which this is the size that like I got like as a hostess gift or whatever, or one of the hostess things came with some laundry detergent, but the actual size is actually like twice as big as it.
Got it.
Just kind of FYI. And it says 66 loads on this, but it's way more than 66 loads because you only have to use between a half a teaspoon and a teaspoon of this stuff.
What?
Yeah. So we just have a teaspoon in the bag.
Wow.
Yeah, it depends. You know, if you have a front loader, you don't need as much soap, and
Got it.
that's the bag officially says to use more than that, but we've you know, Norwex consultants have told us, yeah, use between half a teaspoon and a teaspoon, and we've been doing that for 5 years now. You know, they say to launder it with a detergent with no fillers, and they say that because the cloth will grab the fillers, and then the cloth will be full of fillers, and it's not going to pick up the stuff that you want it to. So
Got
then
it.
we know that this isn't full of fillers, but
Yeah,
know, we
yeah.
like
I've
it.
wondered if we could get away with, you know, like a 7th generation, or
Probably.
even what's the Target brand, Free and Clear, or whatever. They have got a, and Trader Joe's has a
That's right.
plant-based brand too. But yeah, we've just always bought the
It lasts a
the
long time.
Norwex detergent.
That's exciting. I recently picked up some like no plastic laundry detergent. They had a very funny commercial that popped up on Facebook, and I actually bought it. So they're called drops. So you just stick it in and it dissolves. Actually, and we wash in cold water, so you have to stick it in a bag that you stick in. But that's cool. They send you the bag, so it doesn't really bother me. So, but yeah, the commercial was the guy, the CEO, sitting in a bathtub, and they dropped it in. And so his point was like safe enough that you can take a bath in it, which that is a selling point, I have to say.
Mhm.
And then they talked about like how expensive it is to ship plastic around that's full of liquid.
Right.
That's a reasonable point. And right, like our towels, you're talking about washing your towels once a month. I wash them twice a week because they really do start to get smelly.
And think how much water you would save.
Right.
Right. So they are expensive, but we've had ours for 5 years. I have no plans to get new ones anytime soon.
That's remarkable.
Mhm.
Yeah, because right, we're probably very soon in the market for towels is the reality. So every couple of years.
Yep.
Um,
And we just we've got our old towels here for when people stay over and whatever, but
Or
we each have
yeah,
one towel.
or like the dishwasher starts leaking, you know, you grab the old towels,
say that happened.
or when you go to the beach or something. I mean, we have our beach towels still, but
Yep.
yeah. But yeah, I mean, like the shelf of towels that you use all the time will be practically empty.
Mhm.
That is a very good bonus. Yeah, and when you buy new towels, there's always this period where the bathroom is full of lint, and it's just, right, like you can almost get lint on your body just drying off. It's really,
Yeah.
it's really quite irritating, as it turns out.
Yeah.
So I did look at that, but I was like, oh gosh, $240 is a big investment. So I'm
Yeah.
glad to.
There are a lot of you.
Yeah, there's a ton, and everybody has to do something, even if it's like a quick rinse.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you could start with just a towel for you and a towel for Dom, and
Right.
you know, next year buy a couple new ones, and
That's true too.
you don't have to buy them all at once.
Right. Yeah, that's also true. But yeah, and you know, kids, they don't know how they got it in the bathtub with that. Like, I don't know what happened. There's always some reason for there to be more laundry.
Yeah.
For sure. So
I just want to show you, this is this is one of their weirder looking products. What do they call this thing? It's a dishcloth. Okay. So because when you're washing dishes, you don't actually want something that's like holding onto water. You want something that's just going to help you scrub. I don't know how well you can see
oh yes.
this, but it's huge. You get 2 of them when you buy the dishcloth. So we actually just cut ours into 3 pieces, because this is plenty. You want this in your hand and you're, scrubbing some dishes or whatever. And this is just for regular dishes. It's, you're still going to need your scrubby for the things you'd use your scrubby for. But you can totally just like cut it and it doesn't unravel. We just got new ones. We had one that we had bought 5 years ago, and back then they were making white ones, and they weren't white anymore.
Yeah.
But I had no,
yeah, they were still.
She was like,
going.
Let's replace this, and I was like, why?
So, Yep, so that's the kitchen, and then we do use their, what do they call these? Their kitchen cloths. You go like a day or two on each one, and then wash them, and then when they start to get slimy, that's when you need to do the deep cleaning. And then we also use, this is the kitchen towel that everybody dries their hands on when they're, after they wash their hands or whatever. So these don't need to get washed nearly. I mean, like I said, we spend a lot of time in our kitchen, so we.
Yes. Yeah, I do too. And the kitchen towel has the back lock.
Yep.
Property.
Yeah. And
That's
so
really
it's good for a while. And in fact, you could, without laundering it, you could have two, and you could get one all nice and wet and dry it, and then the next day it's, you know, kind of refreshed a little bit. One of the things about that I notice about these towels though is, like, because I spend as much time in the kitchen, you know, they pull that water right in, and so the towel gets wet. And
then you need another
so
towel.
sometimes it's not, you know, if we're really cooking something, you know, if it's not enough for a day, you might have to swap it out or turn it over, or, you know, something. But yeah, but then in the morning, you know, after it's had a night to dry, it's clean, ready to go. And
right, which is remarkable. And we have an island in the kitchen that used to have paper towel racks. We just bought it that we actually would hang bibs on the paper towel racks, like it wasn't even functioning. So we just took those off and we installed little hooks. So now we have a bunch of, you know, little claws all lined up, and now the baby can't hang on it, which is great.
I now have enough of these that there's one in every bathroom. So we've got hooks in the bathroom, one for the EnviroCloth, one for the window cloth for washing the mirrors. So yeah, in every bathroom. So then if your sink is dirty, you're just done. Yep.
Yeah.
But you know what I'd say for like your actual bath towel is, like, it's more ideal if it's hanging flat than on a, you know, a hook and hanging like this.
Yeah.
I mean, it'll get dry and it'll be fine, but like my 5-year-old towel, if I'm just hanging it like that, you know, I'm like, it starts building up a smell by the end of the week. And so it's 5 years old now. And but I recently, like, I hang it on top of all of the hooks for a while and then move it, you know, once it's dry, and you know, so if, you know, if you have the ability to hang it like that, something like that, it's going to dry more, you know, you're going to get more use out of it before you have to throw it in the laundry, because all the surfaces, you know, that stuff's not building up bacteria on the surface while it's drying.
That's a very helpful tip, especially for like the face cloths in the bathroom. Because yes, I've been hanging them by their little hooky. I'm very good at directions. I did exactly what they told me to do. So, but that's a good tip. Like, hang it differently and see. Because
this is how you'll know that we're not really Norwex like representatives, is because I'm going to show you just a little tip if you don't know. This is Castile soap. There's different brands of Castile soap, and that is exclusively what we use for hand washing. It's just a more environmental kind of soap.
Right.
You put 1 tablespoon-ish of Castile soap in a foaming, you really want a foaming one, and then fill the rest up with water, and so we just keep this under the sink, and then when it's empty, so every bathroom has one of these, and then the kitchen has one of these. The kitchen, you know, runs out all the time. And then, like, if I'm washing a dish, I just use a pump of this with this.
And we use this instead of like a vegetable spray on fruits and vegetables that have cracks or, you know, or whatever. We'll just put some pumps of the Castile soap on it, and so I refill this a lot.
It's kind of a catch-all for like everything in the kitchen.
But we used to go out and buy that, you know, the spray vegetable stuff that you find in the produce section at the store, and that was $8 a bottle or something like that. And
And you're
Because
using a
we
lot
buy
of
by
it.
the gallon, and then we just like take the gallon around and refill up all the sink ones that we have. So
I've never heard of this. What is Castile soap?
It's made, I think it's a coconut product. And this is interesting. This guy developed this like years ago, and his son or grandson owns the company now. But if you actually read this is Dr. Bronner's, and if you actually read the thing, it's a little bit crazy. He had his own twist on religion and stuff, and he talks about cleanliness is next to godliness, and which we all say anyway, but kind of takes that to another level. But anyway, yeah, it's derived from like coconut or other fatty vegetables or fruits, and I don't know, they turn it into a soap somehow, and then it's really ultra concentrated, so you only need small amounts of it.
That's cool. I'll have to look into that, because
yeah. And when I say we buy it by the gallon, I mean like once a year we buy a gallon of it. Twice a year?
Yeah, a couple times. Well, yeah, maybe once a year.
Once to twice a year. We buy
right.
a gallon. Yeah.
And you can find bottles this size at Trader Joe's. You can buy the gallons at Trader Joe's, or you can get them from Amazon. We get them through, I'm in a buying club with UNFI. It's a company that most likely delivers to your health food store. And they sell gallons. That's the cheapest price I was able to find those. So
Nice. That's good to know. So is there anything else that you would tell people that are just thinking about this?
I'm sure that I will think of like 5 things.
I know. Oh, then we too can use the comments. Well, I mean, I found it very helpful to run into something like this. I think I do major cleaning like once a week, but it's like floors, bathroom, and then I cook. Well, I try to cook 5 or 6 days a week, right? I try to like have one day be leftovery, so we cook a lot. So yes, I spend a lot of time in the kitchen, and I think I had mentioned offline as well, like it's easy for me to fall back into the old, like, oh, I'll just grab that paper towel. So I've had to remind myself multiple times that this is a real alternative that I can utilize. And because, right, how much paper towel? It's not even just the paper towel. There's so much happening, right?
The cleaning thing, the chemicals that you bought, the plastic that those chemicals came in, it's all that stuff. And now you face the conundrum. See, we're past the conundrum because we've been using Norwex for 5 years, but you face the conundrum of what to do with that cleaning chemicals that you no longer need.
Right.
Do you use them just to use them? Do you give them to someone else?
Right.
Do you throw them away?
Right.
There's no good answer.
Don't listen to the drinking water. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, and I should mention they have toothbrushes, and so you buy the toothbrush is plastic. I mean, honestly, this is a plastic too. I mean, microfiber is made of polyester, I think. But I guess we're still using cloths that are 5 years old or more, and so I guess you have to balance that. But anyway, they have toothbrushes that after you buy the toothbrush, you only have to replace the bristles, and so the bristles pop out and pop back in, and they've got silver. I don't know if the silver's in the back of it or in the threads or both, but same idea. The silver is there to kind of sanitize the toothbrush in between uses, and then when the bristles get really bad, you just order new ones. So that's nice. Although we've recently moved to bamboo toothbrushes, not made by Norwex.
But they're compostable, which is really exciting.
We have a lady that takes our food scraps and composts them, and she said that these work just fine for composting. So we're really excited about that.
Wow. Okay, this is all good to know. So I had not picked up that Norwex had toothbrushes or that there's such a thing as a compostable toothbrush in the world. So, but I do feel like cleaning my kids' teeth with silver is a reasonable thing to think about, as it
Yeah, I
is.
think it's more you clean the teeth with the bristles, and then the silver cleans the bristles.
Is down
So
in
that they're
there.
not- yeah.
That's true. But still, like the fact that they might stick a toothbrush that's a little less bacteria ridden in their mouth,
Right.
and like that could be, because again, I feel like they are always ill,
Mm-hmm.
and so
Do they each have their own tube of toothpaste? Oh,
no.
there's what kids need to do. Like,
Or
They
get
do
those
have
little
their own
tablet
deodorant.
ones.
I had a friend like say, wait, she's the one that said to me, like, don't your kids don't have their own tubes of toothpaste? I said, no, we all use the same one. And she's like, you all put your toothbrush on that
Right.
same tube of
I
toothpaste.
have thought of
Of course
it.
they're all sick.
Right.
I mean,
I-
in one bathroom, that's a lot of tubes of toothpaste. I mean,
Right. It has crossed my mind. I've just never done right, but right, 6. I mean, as it is, and we also share hairbrushes too, which, you know,
eh,
It
you're not
seems less
sticking
of a
it in your
problem.
mouth.
Yeah.
right, yeah. So, but they have right now they need deodorant for school and deodorant for home. Like it's the amount of products that we are thinking about at this stage in our lives. And I think of like Dominic's parents who raised 5 kids, and I don't think that they adjusted for years to the fact that they didn't need as much stuff. Like they were still buying so much shampoo and
Yeah.
they just didn't need it because there was fewer people around. But yeah, I feel like every time I'm turning around, because as soon as you teach them to shower, they're like pump, 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 pump. Right? They're going through. I don't even understand. Like, how did that much soap disappear? So
Hey, well, you can get body cloths, and then you don't need soap anymore.
right. Oh, honestly, we could save millions. I think. Like they just. I don't understand what's happening in the bathroom. And I'm trying to let them grow up, right? So I could stand there, but it feels creepy and it feels like, we want them to experiment and experience life. But yes, right? We could lower the whole problem.
Yep,
Like
because I mean, I still haven't found a good solution for shampoo. I'd like to use a more natural shampoo with my hair. And I think like everybody's hair must be different because I've been to a million websites and, people are like, this is the best shampoo ever. It's the only thing that worked for me. And then it doesn't work for me, So I'm still, if anybody wants to tell me their shampoo tricks, let me know.
right. I sometimes use baby powder because,
Oh, sure.
I can't wash every day. I don't have time to wash it every day. But the lady that cuts my hair, she washes her every 2 weeks, and she was like, oh well, maybe because you don't color your hair, maybe that dries the hair out better. And I was like, that is the most interesting
That seems like the
campaign.
opposite.
The most interesting campaign for coloring your hair is you can wash it less. But but I don't want to color my hair because I don't want to deal with that next, right? Like
Totally. You don't need another thing to do in your life.
no.
I don't either.
So I have little grays, but
Yeah, I got some gray.
yeah, right. We both have to get really close to the screen for people to believe us, but they're in there and I'm keeping them, so people might assume that I'm not young. Well,
Your daughter is as tall as you now, right?
she's as tall, and we were at a party dressed the same because it was like a dress up party, and this woman thought she had already met me because she had met her. And I mean, she has blonde hair, right? So you should have, but if you didn't take that note, apparently you could assume you've already met me.
Wow.
Yeah. But in general, I think she looks more like her dad in various ways. So
Yes. She looks like both of you. She looks a lot like both of you.
yeah, right. There's this miraculous thing that happens when your genetics mix and you get these things that look like both of you. So this is good, you guys. Thank you so much for sharing all of this.
Yeah, absolutely.
I appreciate it because we had the briefest conversation and I tried the product and really loved it. So when you threw a party, then I was like, ooh, let me get a few more things.
Yeah.
So I appreciate hearing more about it, especially because we're kind of far away.
Yeah, it's good to talk to you.
Yes, yes. So for those of you who are like who have stuck in this long, right? So we went to college together and used to live in the same city, and then I moved away in 2002 actually. So we don't get to see each other's faces very much. So thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Let us know if
Yay!
you have more questions.
Yes. And so for those of you that I'm going to say goodbye, my friends are not actually going to hang up. But so thank you so much, and we'll talk to you later.
Goodbye.
Bye.